Hi, I'm Kelly, and I'm here with Karyn, and we're here to answer your grief questions. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of our latest videos. We release new ones every Wednesday and Saturday. And make sure you go back and watch all of our other videos because we have some really great content out there that may answer some of the questions that you do have. And if you do have a question, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is down in the show notes. So, Karyn, my question today is for you, and I think it's a good one, probably one that a lot of people talk about. And what are some strategies to help someone stuck in anger?
Yeah, well, I think the word stuck is important there because anger is one of the emotions that I call like the roadblock emotions, and there's a couple of those. Guilt, regret can fall into that category too. But it's like we're trying to move along through our grief process, but we keep revisiting a certain theme, and it just makes it very difficult, to move forward with the other things. We know that grief is sort of an umbrella term, and there's a lot of different feelings and emotions that come under it. The sadness is what we expect. And when it comes to anger, I always kind of say, sadness can be like the sweet part. That's the part that feels connected to the love and the memories. And it would be nice if that's what we could really be focusing on. But the anger and some of those other things can pull us away from that. So, I guess like most things we say, recognition is an important part of starting this process of like where you want to go with it and validating the normalcy of anger. The trouble with anger is that it comes in a couple of different forms. We can be angry at the facility where our loved one was. We can be angry at a sibling who we feel didn't contribute or is causing problems in the aftermath with things like the estate. We can be angry at God. I mean, there's just a lot of different places that we can be angry. And there's going to be like a spectrum of it too. I think there are some people that find themselves more irritable, that find themselves not even having a specific focus, like the ones I've just mentioned, but feeling just agitated, and just really struggling, where others are really feeling that their anger has a direct, focus. So recognizing where you are probably on that spectrum helps as well. I think one thing with some of the roadblock emotions is that they do keep us connected. They keep us revisiting certain things. They kind of keep us in that place where we're feeling like we have some control or that we can kind of put some of our energy. And this is not the case for everybody, but some people may find also that anger is a safer place for them to go. The idea of being sad, sadness is a very
Mhm,
low energy emotion, and you don't
mhm.
get really too far with that, where anger can give you a charge and it can give you some energy. And, I can
Absolutely.
just have a focus on that. So we kind of want to start, I guess, is we're focusing on like, where is the anger coming from? Who is it directed at? Anger directed at ourselves, I think more often feels like guilt, but still that can kind of be at play there too. So I think some of the strategies are normalizing it, validating it, recognizing the source of it, and trying to figure out what to do with it from there. We tend to walk around with grief with like the big ball of bad emotion. And sometimes it's hard to really distinguish exactly what we're dealing with. But if we can break it down into those smaller, more manageable pieces, let's say it goes back to like the sibling issue. It's like, well, is this a long-standing issue with a sibling? Is this, not necessarily a brand new grief thing, but something that's been going on for a long time that you're still just trying to manage? There's a lot of that different kind of stuff that can be going on. So I think the source of it, I say it's always really important to be observers of ourselves, recognizing when these things are coming up. Um, and I don't find anger to be particularly problematic. I know it's really uncomfortable for a lot of us. It's an unfamiliar emotion to be walking around with. So if we can kind of say, listen, this is just sort of where I'm at for a while, it's just wanting to be careful that it's not affecting relationships, that it's not affecting performance at work. That's where we may start to feel like, okay, I got to do something about this. But where it's coming from is going to decide that. What are your thoughts on that, Kelly?
Well, and I agree with everything you're saying. I think we have to make sure we like kind of look at it. And is this something that's we're avoiding other feelings?
Yeah.
Right. Because, like you said, anger can motivate us, it can keep us going. And so I think it's a good question. Is this helping or hurting me right now? And is this making me avoid maybe that sadness?
Yeah.
and sitting with that. And so if that's the case, maybe you have to figure out a little bit about how to be more comfortable with that sadness and be able to sit with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's very true. And again, if it's more to do with some people, like the first example we gave is being like upset with the facility. Is it a matter of reaching out to them, letting them know that
Mhm.
you were not happy with the care that your loved one received? Some people do that and say, you know what, if I can do this and it prevents another family from having to go through this, then that'll be worthwhile. I mean, is there an action that can be attached to this? Is there something that you can do, to ease some of this or to feel like, again, you're getting some of that control? Is it a conversation that you have with a loved one to say, listen, there's been miscommunication or misunderstanding, or this is how I'm feeling? We do have some of those options, but um, I think it's a balance of recognizing that, yes, this is part of your grieving process and maybe isn't a fix, and that we have to kind of ride through the anger and we can't just take it away the same way we can't take away sadness. But also to be mindful, like, is this spilling over into things that are going to have a more long lasting impact? Like, am I constantly angry with my husband and he's going to really start to get upset because that
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time dealing with my grief and it's coming out as anger and it's starting to hurt our relationship, those kinds of things.
All right. So to summarize,
Yes.
what are some strategies to help someone stuck in anger?
Well, I think as we had talked about, recognizing the source, as much as we're able, trying to figure out what is the kind of catalyst for the anger. Where did this start? Did it start at the time of my loved one's passing, or is it related to a long-standing challenge in a relationship? I think sometimes recognizing that this is something I've always dealt with can help a little bit. Or if it's brand new, realizing I'm going to need time with this. We need to validate it. We need to observe it. And I think we need to get to the root of it so we can figure out how best to handle it, while at the same time letting ourselves have some of that anger, because it is a very normal part of the process, right there hand in hand with sadness and everything else.
Well, thank you, Karen.
Sure. Thank you, Kelly.
And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more of your grief questions answered by us. Thanks so much.